James, Jenny. Okay. Wow, January 2nd. Here we are. Another day. Okay. So I know my timer clock was off. That's because I started it late. Hey, Susa. Um, Okay, big question today is what if everything you believe is true is a lie? This is a question that I had to face in my life more than once, I'd have to say. And it's a question I continue to be faced with as I seek to understand and to learn more. Hey, Philly. Uh, it's For those of you who are joining, I'm Faith Jones, and I'm actually writing my memoir about growing up in a cult religious organization called the Children of God, or the Family. And what is interesting for me is in this process of writing the memoir, I have to check with a lot of people. I have to call different people in my family and try to figure out stuff that maybe I wasn't aware of at the time. I have to, because I was too young or I wasn't there, figure out historical details. And so this process for me has been very enlightening because I realized there were a lot of things that I thought were true that weren't. There were things that I was taught or that for some reason I had the impression weren't true. And I think that often happens as we begin to dig deeper into our family history and we ask people about things that we remember people telling us or stories we heard. And then as we keep digging into it, we find that there's things that aren't always true in them. But it goes much bigger than that, right? Because when I left the group, I realized that, and it took me a long time to really face up to the fact and be able to question so many of the beliefs that I was taught while I was growing up, and to get to the point where, it's so hard to do that because it challenges your whole view of yourself, your whole view of your identity, and everything is at risk when you ask these really big questions. Now, it can be big questions about your religion, about what you believe, and what you were taught as a child was the truth about. It could be about your family, it could be about your God, right? And so for me, when I left, hey, awesome, Ika, Joao, when I left this cult, it took me a long time to be able to look and examine these beliefs that I was taught, and I had to build a whole new framework to even look at them from that. And I had to be able to question, right? And that is the hardest part. But what I discovered was that you can't truly know if something is true or not, and that includes religion, that includes God, that includes everything, unless you're willing to entertain the possibility that it's not true. That's the only way you can really find out if it is true. And that has been less scary to me, I think, over the years, because I have had to do that in so many areas of my life, to the point where I had to question everything I ever believed, everything I was ever taught. And that process doesn't stop. That process continues because I came out into society and I went to school and I went to college and I went to law school and I was taught all this other stuff. Hi, Harshita. Hi, Galaxy. And I was taught all these other things. And then, was I just going to accept them all again, right? I don't think we realize how much of what we are taught is lies. There's a great little book you can buy on Kindle, and it's called The Lies They Taught You in School, including that George Washington was the first president of America, right? There's just many, many things that they teach us as true. This is history, this is what happened. And when you really dig into it, it's not true at all. And how would that change your whole perspective of America, of the country, right? And that's kind of the rewriting of history to bring in histories that were excluded, right? Like from people of color, um, and all of the great contributions that they made, or all of the terrible things that were done. Um, so it's not just, doesn't just happen in cults, it happens everywhere all the time. And, you know, it's not always that your parents were lying to you. Sometimes they were, but sometimes they really truly believed whatever it was they were telling you. And they believed it because somebody else told them, and they learned it from someone else that told them, right? But these types of things that we believe that are not true, that we accept as fact, some of them can seem fairly innocent, but some of them can destroy our lives. They can destroy the lives of other people, of our children, of the people that we love. And so today I urge you to start that questioning process. It's not going to happen today, okay? It may not happen for a long. It's a lifelong process to keep asking that question. How do I know if this is true? And what if this is a lie? And what if my idea about this is not true? What if what somebody told me isn't true? Continually asking that question opens up the possibility for new perspectives. It opens up the possibility for us to understand. And it stops us from being held so rigidly in our belief that we cannot see what's happening to the people around us, right? Because when we are completely rigid in our belief, we can do things. And this is what happened when I was growing up. You know, my parents and teachers, they held these beliefs so firmly, they didn't question them. And that enabled them to do terrible things to their children, right? And to other people, because they thought this is true, this is right, this is godly. And that's the real danger of being so trapped in a particular way of thinking and a belief that you're unwilling to question. So always leave open the possibility that it might not be true, right? This whole thing that I've been taught, it might be a story. It might be a story created because somebody, you know, because it was helpful at some point, at some time, or because it was in somebody's best interest, but maybe not yours. So this is a time to question what they tell us in the media, to question what they tell us in school, to question the things we've learned from our parents about good child rearing or good relationships or good religions, right? This is our time to question and to try to look at things logically. It's tough, very tough. And this is a process for sure, a process that I am still in, and I am so grateful for. You know, when I discover, oh wow, I didn't know that. I didn't see that before. And it shifts my whole perspective on something. And it's okay. It's okay to mess up in this process, because we will. But the worst mistake we can make is not being willing to question and being so rigid in our beliefs that we hurt other people. So that's what I'm going to give you today. What if everything you think is true is a lie? And that is a tough one. But if you open yourself to it, you'll be able to figure out what is really true. And that's the process. Have a beautiful day. Thank you guys for coming on and watching. Bye, Laxar, Garcia. Have a good day.